Hi, Taurus. Welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for April of 2021. Well, you are in your birthday mop-up period this year already. It's already started and your birthday is coming and you're probably feeling the pressure of that. And the 30 days before your birthday, that mop-up period is really the best time all year to get a reading, to find out what's coming in your new year so you can hit the ground running. And you can find a link to get your annual birthday reading in the YouTube description below. Well, Jupiter is moving through Aquarius this year, bringing growth and expansion, confidence and joy to whatever area of your chart has Aquarius in it. For you, that's most likely house 10, or it might be house 9. I'll say a little bit about each. If Jupiter is in your 10th house, which it probably is, then you're in a career luck period this year, a whole year of career luck. Doesn't that sound awesome? A great time for you to grow and expand, or if you're feeling restless, to make a change, because now is the time when you're feeling confident in the value that you bring around work, and you can just pedal yourself, all the more powerfully out in the world if you wanted to make a change in terms of moving up where you already are into a different position or a different pay grade, or changing jobs to a different place, or even changing fields. It's a really good year for that sort of thing. Now, if you have late Taurus rising, then Jupiter is most likely in your 9th house, which is great because Jupiter loves to be in the 9th house. And that brings the feeling of growth and expansion to your arena of worldview and ethics, so that this is a year for you to become more expanded in your mind, more tolerant, just thinking bigger about everything. And that can feel really good. You can find out more about Jupiter in Aquarius in our video about it on our YouTube channel, Pandora Astrology, in the 2021 news playlist. Now, Julia, you've got some news for the Tauruses of the world about Mercury, Venus, and Mars, I believe.
I sure do, Jamie. Well, hey there, Taurus. I'll begin with Mercury. That's the planet of our mind. It's also the planet of communication, too. And at the very beginning of the month, on April 3rd, Mercury is going to shift into your 12th house of the subconscious. So during this cycle, you're going to be a little bit more inclined to keep your thoughts to yourself. And since the 12th house is such an ethereal house in many ways, it's Neptune's house, you could be getting your best information, your best ideas from very ethereal places. This is a wonderful time for dream journaling, for meditating, for any type of consciousness expanding activity, which can be many things. Then Mercury moves into your 1st house on April 19th. And at that point, you're going to be a lot more outspoken because you're going to be embodying that Mercury energy. And Mercury does pretty well in this house, which means that you're going to be a lot more articulate than usual, better to sort of express yourself. It's a wonderful transit if you have any public speaking that you need to do too. And now I'm going to move on to Mars, the planet of action and activity, which begins the month in your 2nd house of possessions. So Mars is, wherever we have Mars is where we feel very, very driven. And the 2nd house is the house of your personal income. So you could feel very driven to just kind of gain more money during this cycle. Maybe that means asking for a raise or expanding business or selling some things. Mars is also a very impulsive planet. So you could also feel like impulsively spending money very quickly too. So just make sure that everything has a good return policy before you hit yes on PayPal or something. Then Mars is going to move into your 3rd house of communication and siblings on April 23rd. So at this point, wherever we have Mars is where we might run into some conflict. And since the 3rd house is the house of communication, you might be a bit sharper with your words than you usually are. So make sure you don't say anything you can't unsay. The 3rd house is also the house of siblings. So if you have any of those, brothers or sisters, you guys could be flaring up a little bit more at each other too. The best use of this transit is to try to get out a lot of energy on 3rd house things. This is the house of writing. writing. So maybe just really
Mm.
kind of driving yourself to get a lot of the writing that you need done. That could be a good use for this. Then Venus, the planet of art, beauty, and relationships, begins the month in your 12th house. This is an ethereal house, like I mentioned before. It's also the house of the subconscious, and it's also a very isolated house. So you might feel like withdrawing a lot socially from people. If you're in a relationship, then you're going to want to sort of enjoy your partner in a more sort of secluded way, maybe at home or maybe renting an Airbnb somewhere very remote together. Then on the 14th, Venus is going to move into your first house of self. And this is a really lovely transit because Venus brings beauty wherever she goes. And this is the house of your appearance. So a very wonderful time to do something to beautify your looks, get a new haircut, get a tattoo, buy some new clothes, for example. And for all the single Tauruses out there, it's a good dating transit because you're going to be looking very, very good.
Yeah, I love the idea of the Tauruses of the world, like upgrading their personal style as the birthday is approaching.
Yeah,
I really
actually,
love
that's a
that a
great
lot.
use of it. Totally.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe you could even get somebody to like, buy your hair
I love it.
So this month we're seeing that, and towards the beginning of the month, there's a large gathering of planets in your 12th house here in Aries. And that's that feeling of isolation and withdrawal and retreating into solitude that Julia was talking about. And then as the month goes on, those planets are tending to migrate into the first house. And this is just basically, this is just your birthday, basically. Planets are gathering in your sign, and it's like the sensation of coming up from underwater and hitting the surface to where things have that clarity again. It's that feeling of freshness and new beginnings. But to get a little bit more specific, the first of this month's moons is happening on April 11th, and it is a new moon in Aries, which is again in your 12th house. And that being the last new moon before your birthday, really the last moon of any kind, because the full moon is also over before your birthday. And there will be a full moon shortly as we get into Taurus. But this is the last moon that really brings up that feeling of like, I want to hole up, I want to go inside, I want to dream my new year into existence. And this being in Aries, and involved with Mars too, there is a strong feeling of assertiveness and wanting to like light sparks and get things started. And you may find yourself sort of holding back some impulsiveness, but let those sparks ignite, because they are going to find some wood to like, create flames with as the month goes on. So then the next event that happens is that the sun does move into Taurus, which begins your season, the season of the sensory and sensual, the season of nature, of spring, of, flowers springing up on the hillside and all of the beautiful smells and colors of springtime in full bloom. These belong to you. These are your thing. And so that is really, the symbology or the metaphors behind all these planets moving into your first house, which brings the focus to you where it should be, right? And, if you ever feel like as a Taurus, you just don't get noticed the way that you deserve, this is the time for that to happen and for people to just, value and recognize your solidity. Okay. So then we have the other of this month's moons, and that is a full moon in Scorpio, which falls in your 7th house of partnership and relationship. And the Scorpio moon is the most intense moon of the year because the moon struggles in Scorpio. The moon is already a moody planet, but in Scorpio, those moods can really veer into the intense or even paranoid. So there may be some kerfuffles in your relationship because this is in their relationship house. You may find yourself standing your ground or providing some objectivity and distance to help, that crazy person in your life who might be going off the rails. But, it's really good to recognize that if you draw Scorpios, it's because they make life really interesting. And there might even be something within you that kind of likes being bowled over by a passionate, intense Scorpio. Is there anything else I want to say about that moon? I don't think so. I do want to say a little thing or two about Pluto, which is about to go retrograde. So I've been saying for months in your horoscope that the winter and spring are the best time all year to start new projects, because projects that you start during this part of the year are likely to proceed swimmingly without a lot of sort of built-in obstacles. And that's great, but that condition is about to start eroding because Pluto will go retrograde, which it does right here on April 27th. It's the first of a whole domino row of planets that are going to be going retrograde over the next couple of months, culminating in the fall, which is the worst time of this year to start new projects. So don't wait, do it now. I know, Taurus, you're not very good on like doing it now. That's not usually your thing, but you know, take that rebirth energy from your birthday and like do something big with it. I also want to add that if you're literally having a Pluto transit this year, then you might want to really pay attention to this day, April 27th, because that's when you're going to start to feel the effects of the Pluto transit. You feel like you're going on an underworld journey. You feel like you're going into meltdown. You feel like some transformation is afoot, but you don't exactly know what it is or how long it's going to last, or when it'll be over, or what to do about it. If you have anything at all in your chart, somewhere between 24 and 26 degrees of any cardinal sign, meaning Capricorn, Cancer, Libra, or Aries, then you are having a Pluto transit this year and you are feeling like things are melting down around you. And we can absolutely help with that because we can show you a diagram that defines and lays out in time this transit for you so that you can recognize it and know what to do with it, know how to handle it, and most of all, know when it's going to be over. So we'd love to help you with that. And don't wait until Pluto turns retrograde to make those big decisions this month. Well, that's what we have for you today, Taurus. I hope you enjoyed it. We certainly enjoyed making it for you. You can always find your horoscopes on our YouTube channel, Pandora Astrology, along with the news of the month. And you can find them also on our website, pandoraastrology.com, along with the monthly forecast. And you can get a reading there, and you could also join a class. And until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye.